You will now be taken automatically through the trail.
Hello. You've chosen to take the Masterpieces tour. First of all, make sure you're at the entrance to the Sully Wing, which is where your tour will start. The Louvre is a huge maze of a museum, and you'll be passing through the busiest parts of it, so there's a risk of losing your way. Before you go through the ticket gates and begin your tour, we'd like to ask you to please listen carefully to the directions we'll be giving you throughout your visit. We'll be asking you to turn left or right, and to stop at certain points. Listen. Did you hear the footsteps? It's time to make a start. Walk straight ahead and see if you can keep pace with the footsteps. You're now heading for the ticket gates. Don't forget to show your ticket. Carry on straight ahead now and go round the circular balustrade you can see in front of you. You can go round to the left or the right. It's up to you. Then continue straight on. During this tour, you'll be learning about the history of a number of the museum's key works. Some of these, such as the Venus de Milo, the Victory of Samothrace, and of course the Mona Lisa, are world famous. You're now in a room with huge pillars supporting the vaulted ceiling. This area serves as a kind of introduction to the medieval Louvre that you're about to discover. Continue to the end of the room. Now that you're at the end of the room, walk towards the opening you can see on your left. You've now reached the medieval Moat. To your left, there's an impressive model showing an idealized version of the Louvre castle as it was at the beginning of the 15th century, after the work carried out under King Charles V. Carry on along the wooden walkway that follows the castle moat. Stop once you reach the corner. Art historian Régis Labordette.
The way out of the pyramid is through an underground passage, which took you to the western edge of the medieval castle. This was the original Louvre, built at the end of the 12th century by King Philip Augustus. You're now in what was the north side of the castle's moat. To your left was the outer wall of the moat. To your right, the lower sections of the castle itself, the bases of its towers, and in particular the corner towers. The amazing thing is that in the Middle Ages, the castle was actually outside Paris. Why was this? Because the Louvre was built for defence. The Seine is very close by, and the river could have been a particularly easy route for enemies to get into the city, which is why the king had both the city walls and the castle built at the same time.
You followed the walkway to the corner of the two high walls of the medieval castle. Now keep on going. Further on, to the right, you'll see a rectangular wall standing on its own, and two of the old towers very close to each other.
You've now gone past the northeast corner tower, and the thing that stands out most here is the entrance to the castle. The gateway is enclosed by two towers very close to each other, from which it could have been defended. Just to our right is an amazing pier. On top of this rested the drawbridge. In the 17th century, what remained of the castle was destroyed, and the northern and eastern sides of the moat, where you are now, were filled in. This was done in order to build the Cour Carrée, which remains here to this day and is actually above us right now. Much later, as part of the Grand Louvre renovation programme between 1983 and 1985, these parts of the moat were cleared out again and were made part of the visitor experience. They were covered with a reinforced concrete ceiling, which blends marvellously with the old walls. They wanted a rustic aspect with a slightly military feel to it, so the military function of the castle is complemented by the aesthetics of this reinforced concrete ceiling.
In front of you is a sphinx, the great Sphinx of Tanis, which conjures up another world, the world of ancient Egypt. It was sculpted from a single block of pink granite and represents a pharaoh with a lion's body. Turn to the right of the Sphinx and climb the stairs in front of you. At the top of the stairs, rather than continuing straight ahead into the gallery you'll see in front of you, turn left. This will take you into another gallery that runs parallel to the first and leads to the Venus de Milo. It also contains statues of Greek gods and heroes. The statues you can see here are Roman copies of famous Greek works from the 5th century BC. It's very rare for the originals to have survived, so copies like this are often our only way of getting to know the famous statues that once adorned the sanctuaries and public spaces of ancient Greece. As you move through the gallery, you'll pass by Ares, the Greek god of war, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and Apollo, the sun god and protector of the arts. In Rome, they were known respectively as Mars, Venus, and Apollo. Now make your way through the gods and the crowds towards the Venus de Milo. You've now reached the first masterpiece on our tour, the Venus de Milo. Unlike the other statues in the gallery, this is an authentic Greek sculpture. Here is National Museum's lecturer Hélène Baudier to tell us why this sculpture is known as the Venus de Milo.
Alors pourquoi ce nom? Milo, c'est Mélos.
Because Milo is another name for the Greek island of Milos, the island where the statue was discovered in 1820 by a Greek peasant. A young officer in the French Navy was also there and immediately recognized the importance of the sculpture. It was bought by the French ambassador in Istanbul, the Marquis de Rivière, who presented it to King Louis XVIII. The king decided to place the statue in the Louvre. So Milo refers to the place where the statue was found. But why Venus? As you may know, Venus is the name of the goddess of love and beauty. But Venus is the Roman name for this goddess, whereas her Greek name is Aphrodite. As this is a Greek statue, we prefer to call it the Aphrodite de Milo, or the Aphrodite of Milos. However, we can't actually be certain of the identity of this goddess.
Aphrodite de Milo ou Aphrodite de Mélos. Mais cette identité n'est pas sûre.
Now find yourself a place facing the statue.
Alors vous êtes maintenant devant la statue.
You're now in front of the statue, so you can see that, unfortunately, it's incomplete. The arms have never been found. We think that her right arm was held across her chest, whereas her left arm was raised. There have been many theories, for example, that she was holding attributes like an apple or a mirror. It's also possible that she was part of a group of other statues. In reality, we're not sure, but the absence of arms adds a certain air of mystery to the goddess and also draws our focus to the essence of the work, which is the representation of female beauty. Your first view is from the front, and what strikes you is how monumental the statue is. It is larger than life-size. You're also struck by the stability of the work, whose weight is lightened by the movement of the left knee, which is bent slightly forward. There's a very sensual aspect to the torso rising up from the drapery around her hips. And then there's her face, beautifully serene, yet at the same time slightly cold. You try to meet her gaze, but it refuses to be pinned down.
C'est un regard divin qui ne se laisse pas